Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I wanted to close tonight with a couple of comments on Canada, the investment market, and the oil and gas business. I thought Lisa Baton did an incredible job talking about how oil and gas is this incredible resource, not just a natural resource, but an unbelievable patrimony that we have in Canada, and we are squandering it, I fear. I'm at the Real Estate Investment Forum in downtown Toronto this week. 2,700 people, all worried about what's happening in the real estate market, not just in residential, which has been a focus of a lot of different people in regards to housing prices, but worried that the balance of the business is paralyzed. And comments like pre-construction condos are not selling. That lots of assignment sales are either being done and or being done at losses and or being done such that people lose their whole deposit structure. And these are people that would have been investing in condos a couple of years ago, pre-construction condos, and they've now got to come forward with the final payment. And because of the increase in interest rates, they can't get mortgages. They can't justify the prices. The prices in today's marketplace will be below the prices that they invested in. That office space is, other than Class A downtown office space, it's challenged. And office space, Class B and in suburban areas is very challenged. The vacancy rates are 16 to 17% on average, but that includes 6 to 7% in Class A downtown Toronto. And so therefore, a logical extension is that it's over 20 elsewhere in the country. Industrial still doing well, but it's a lot of money, a lot of land that one needs to purchase to invest in that. And the rental market, while in a better shape with some of the moves that have been made lately by both CMHC in providing more low-cost financing and by the federal government in eliminating the GST, because of high interest rates, because of high construction costs, because of lack of construction workers, et cetera, and also still issues in mechanical, electrical, HVAC, et cetera, supply issues. Is challenged, and people are finding it difficult to make the numbers work, and so the market is paralyzed. But at the same time, people talked about how Canada is such a great market, and they identified a ranking system of Canada versus the rest of the G7, and Canada came in number one on average, and we came in number one on government and banking culture. We came in number two on productivity and technological progress, which was surprising to me because I think we're far behind the United States, but they did rank us number two versus the United States. Number one in population growth, and there's been a lot of press about this. With 500,000 people a year coming into Canada, we have one of the highest per capita growth rates in the world. And relative to a lot of my conversations about my concern about debt and deficit, we came in number 5 out of 7. In indebtedness, and that's both government indebtedness and private indebtedness. So indebtedness is a major problem. But even when all those things are averaged, we come in number one in the G7 for attractiveness of investment. And the two areas that came back over and over again in regards to where we have challenges are the time it takes for entitlement. And the areas that were identified as the biggest issues were entitlements in real estate development. Clearly, there was a bias there because it was a real estate development conference, but also entitlements in natural resources. And Lisa talked about that a lot. And as you know, the Supreme Court finding that the federal government overstepped its bounds in regards to how they can regulate the environmental impact of natural resources when it's by the Constitution in provincial concerns, was really interesting. And I think that it is telling that the Supreme Court says effectively the federal government's trying to regulate too much. And the marketplace, I think, is telling governments that they're regulating too much. The comment was made from the stage that Canada is the worst in the whole G7 in regards to entitlements for real estate, the time it takes. And people said that it was 33% of the time to get entitlements in Texas as it is in Canada on average. And Toronto, Vancouver, Victoria are the worst in that regard. So if entitlements, red tape, regulations are the biggest problems we've got in Canada, and everything else is pretty good, says really that Ronald Reagan was right. Government is not the solution. Government is the problem. And we've got to start talking to our local politicians that are primarily the individuals that are responsible for regulating real estate development and over-regulating it. And we had the former city planner from a former chief city planner from the city of Vancouver on the stage, who talked about how he has gone to planning departments and city councils across the country and across the world and told them that that they've got it wrong and we're in a crisis and they've got to change their whole attitude and they've got to get away from their fear of height and density, because it's the only solution to our problems. And they've got to solve the regulatory red tape that hampers approvals and development. And the same thing is in natural resources, where, you know, I've interviewed people from the Don Loy Institute previously that talks about how Canada is one of the worst places to ask for approval of a mine or a new oil well. And then certainly Lisa Baton, the head of the largest association of oil and natural gas producers, said it as well, that the regulatory process in Canada is just messed up. And these politicians are undoubtedly doing it because they're responding to the squeaky wheel of the NIMBYs in different neighborhoods that want to stall every single development. And then also to the environmentalists, who I always have been an environmentalist, but that want to stop all development. And that's not the solution. The solution is that we need to go ahead with development, but we need to do it in a clean manner. And so I think that what we really need to do is we need to make sure that our politicians are aware of the issue that we've got in regards to the amount of red tape and regulation that they put in place, and that it is destroying the investment opportunities for people in the Canadian marketplace. And I think that that has got to be the number one answer that I got out of this conference on that. That other than that, Canada is a pretty good place to invest. So talk to your politicians and tell them get rid of red tape, get rid of NIMBYism, get rid of overly restrictive environmental regulations that take too long. I'm not suggesting bad housing gets built, bad apartments get built, or bad energy developments get built. Not in any way, shape, or form. But let's get the approval done completely within a year. Why not? People talked about dead time. People talked about lineups. People talked about files sitting on desks. People talked about multiple departments, multiple jurisdictions. And we all probably know it. We have got way too much regulation, and it doesn't benefit us. So why should we allow governments and civil service bureaucracies and city councils and city councilors to get so involved, slow us down, create risk and uncertainty, and not add any value? Anyway, that's my show for tonight. Thanks for joining us. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at www.saga960am.ca. Good night.